Welcome to the Dazed and Confused podcast with your host, Diana Cano, where we normalize being dazed and confused at any stage in life. To be curious and to seek constant improvement, everyone is welcome here. Hello, welcome back, beautiful people. It is I, your host, Diana Cano. This episode, it is not because I don't have anything else to say. But because I want to have fun doing this podcast, okay? And I want to, if I one day I want to pick up a topic that seems strange, then so be it. I'm a very multi-dimensional being, and I'm pretty sure so are you. So are many of us. But, we're forced to pick a niche. And in order to see success, you have to have a niche. And I refuse. I absolutely refuse. I'm gonna be doing a recap of my 2023 New Year's resolution, which was reading a book a month. So, I talk about it in the ins and outs for 2024, and I actually ended up exceeding this goal. And I'm gonna dive more into it because I feel like 2023 was a very special year for me. I rekindled my passion for reading. I had lost my passion for reading during a really hard crisis in 2020. I mean, whew, 2020. I feel like if I mention 2020, we all get PTSD. It's like you guys remember what happened to the world collectively, and to each one of us individually. For some people, and I'm shocked. For some people, it was actually a good year, and I'm actually shocked to hear those news. But for me and for many people, it was a crisis after crisis after crisis, and we made it through that whole. So what I'm saying is that basically I've been reading my entire life. In 2020, that March when the pandemic hit, I stopped reading altogether. I didn't even realize, but it's one of those things when you like kind of fall into like a depression spiral and you lose, your enjoyment for the things that you love. That was reading. I lost it, and I struggle. My goal for 2021 was, pick up some books and read, and I struggle honestly to even finish a couple, to read once a month. That was the goal, to read one book a month. It's not a big goal actually, and if you like reading, you know that how easy it is to surpass that goal. And I realized how bad had it affected me, right? So I call 2020 the dark ages, and it feels extreme or dramatic, but that was the dark ages for me. So in 2022, I actually made that goal. Yay! And then in 2023, I surpassed that goal. That's why I'm a huge advocate, of tiny actions. I set that goal for 2021. I did not meet it. Set that goal for 2022. I met that goal. Set the same goal for 2023, and I surpassed it, because you keep continuing expanding what you thought it was possible. And once you achieve something, you realize your potential, and then like, oh, maybe I can achieve that next step. So commit with something tiny today. But let's dive into this episode without further ado. I don't know. So there are many books that I started in 2023, but since I did not finish them in 2023, um it doesn't count. So what I'm saying here is that I'm only counting the books that I started in 2023 and finished in 2023. I thought about excluding some, but then who would I be if I did that? I don't want to be dishonest. It's like, if you're going to judge me for the material that I read, then so be it, because I'm not going to stop, okay? Now that I have that out of my chest, I'm going to go with the category of the most influential books that I read, and that's going to be obviously on top Atomic Habits by James Clear. I feel like there's a lot of personal development material that I read that is like junk, or a book that is super long that could have been short, but I feel like this book had really great components that a lot of personal development books lack. So if you're gonna pick one personal development book, I would say this one, without a doubt. This one, let that book be this one. It will help you a lot to drive the connections of what's not working in your life, what hasn't been working, and what you can do to make things work for you better. Then I have Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. So we're not going to get political, and we're not going to get divisive. So, regardless of this man, I feel like I believe that everyone has a story to tell, and I applaud him for that. Whilst personally, I don't feel like my way of teaching would be shame, I applaud everything that works. So this feels more like a motivational slash biography than anything else. One thing that I will agree, it's the new levels, new devils. Always going for things that make you uncomfortable, however that seems to you, wherever that looks for you. I agree with that. And many other things, but eh. Next book, same category, is Things I Wish I'd Known Before Getting Married by Gary Chapman. I would say that's a must for any couple, especially if you obviously, long term, you want a long term relationship and you have, thoughts about marriage. I feel like it's a must because a lot of the things they still stand. I feel like we don't have these conversations going into marriage, and I learn a lot of stuff, and I certainly have like even new topics of discussion. Then I have Why Does He Do That by Lundi Bancroft. And oh my god, I recommend this book to anyone and everyone who's willing to listen, because this book talks about manipulation. It focuses on men, but anything that you read here can be applied to women too, to same-sex couples, same-sex marriages, and non-binary marriages, non-binary couples. You get the gist. It can be applied to everyone. So it basically gives you an insight to the mindset of the manipulators and narcissists and gaslighters. And wow, once you read this book, it would change your reality, and I hope it changes the way that you interact with men, and hopefully it saves a bunch of people from if even getting into those relationships with those type of men. Born and raised to a narcissist, it's like sometimes you don't realize that some characteristics you're like still carrying or like doing, right? So it's a give and take in relationships. So it changed my life, and I feel like it has helped me identify some things in myself that I didn't even know, they were, manipulation, or they were a must read for sure. Okay, then we have the second category, most enjoyable to read this year. Okay, so in number 1 through 5 on that list, I have anything written by Miss Shirley Kenyon. Okay, so I have Dragon's Bane, Infinity, Invincible, Infamous, and Inferno by Shirley Kenyon. And yes, 4 of those are of one saga, and the other one is for another saga. And I love really long sagas and like world building books. It's like I feel like since I was a kid, like I love to obsess about people, imaginary people, and in the worlds, and like just travel to those places in my head. I don't know, I love it. And Shirley Kenyon definitely was one of those authors that I stumbled across the internet when I was very young and impressionable at the age of 15-ish. So she will always be one of my favorite authors, and made a huge impact in my life, guys. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, thanks to like her novels, that okay, yeah, whatever, it's their novel, they're cringy, it's erotic, so porn for women, whatever, they made such an impression in me at that such young age that a lot of my personality it was like based on those books at that time, like being grumpy and like not wanting to be part of the world with the, shallow people that I grew up with, and like liking Greek mythology and Roman culture, and like even picking sides and liking the Greeks over the Romans, and like, having really strong opinion at such a young age. And I don't know, I feel like it was a gateway to that person. Oh, rock, Leonard Skinner, Nickelback. I could name drop a bunch, but because it was such a huge influence in her books, I felt like I just wanted to be part of that world. And and I love the badass woman, the fighters, and stuff like that, and the men that respect the woman. I don't know. I'm telling you, a lot of that, my personality will be attributed to her, because like it made such an impression at my young age. And obviously as I've come in, and obviously as I've grown up, um I've I've had more layers added to me, but I still love that face that I had thanks to her. So anything Miss Sherilyn Kenyon, always on my top most enjoyable books. um as a matter of fact, that saga, one of those saga, the Infinity, Invisible, Infamous, and Inferno, they're part of one saga called The Chronicles of Nick. Ah, God, that saga, to be honest, every single book except the last one, it's good. So it's like, because of the last book, it kind of makes it like this saga was pointless. So if you go into reading that saga, first of all, if you go into reading that saga without reading Dark Hunters, you're not gonna understand half of the plots of what's going on. I feel like it is understandable because like new characters, but it's supposed to be a spin-off for a reason. So there's a lot of context cues that you will miss out if you didn't read Dark Hunters. And Dark Hunters is like 20 plus pages, and I mean 20 plus books and counting. So it is a long saga, but the thing is that with that last book, it kind of feels like, fuck, it kind of loses the purpose of the whole spin-off. So if there is ever a redemption and she decides to rewrite that book, um I will read it and like give it another chance. But I mean, it was enjoyable to me to read, but I wouldn't recommend it to other people because it's, a bit like, oh no, I cannot put my stamp of approval behind her on that spin-off. But it's still, I enjoyed it because I'm telling you, I've this saga is in my heart since I was 15. So there's no way to like, como se dice, destroy that, relationship that I have with this saga. So ni modo. So the next 7 books, excessive, right? I'm telling you, 5 most enjoyable. That was just one. The next 7 books, okay, of the most enjoyable that I read in 2023. It should not surprise you that I actually enjoy the Akotar saga. So, A Court of Thorn and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. So, the A Court of Thorn and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury, A Court of Wings and Ruin, A Court of Frozen Starlight, A Court of Silver Flames, and House of Earth and Blood, and House of Sky and Breath. So those are two series, right? The Akotar is one, all the court name books are one, and the house name books are part of another saga that's called Crescent City. Wow, a lot to unwind there, but the reason why I like Sarah J. Maas is because, yes, I agree. It pisses me off that the action happens at the end in every single book. That's her writing style. Okay, whatever. But hear me out. The Akatar saga and the Crescent City saga and the Throne of Gods saga, they all interlapped. There's nothing I love more than war building sagas. I just told you that. So the fact that there's 3 sagas that are interlapping into story plot, I love it. And it's not an interlap in the way that is like Ana Juan, for example. Uh Books where like you see it's like chronologically, and like everything is like couples, and like that no couples in the same circle that's happening at the same time in the same time space continuum. No, this is like world building that's like intertwined in like multi-dimensional existence simultaneously, present, past, and future, and they're all connected. And I don't know, I just like the intricacies and the complexity, and the fact that it's so subtle, and the fact that there's philosophical aspects. I don't know, I just love it. I just love going into that. I'm sorry I got so nerdy, but I just like going into those books, because I like to, rereading and like getting a new perspective out of the book that I didn't get the first time, and getting something new the third time, and then like something that interconnects to that book, and doing that whole freak analysis, like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, this. I don't know. I picture myself when I read these books like, that scene in Pacific Rim where the doctor, I don't know the name, it's like studying the kaijus, and he makes the connection with the kaiju brain, and he comes out with like one right eye, and he's like talking about the plan, the kaiju plan, and how like actually like they were here the whole time, and blah blah blah. Oh, I just feel like that. I'm telling you guys, I'm smart, but it's just my English that's stupid. But don't worry, it's catching up. One book at a time, my vocabulary is expanding in English. Anyways, next thing. Moving on to the next category, trying on new things. I didn't know how to label this category. I just feel like I like the books, and I didn't know, like, I don't feel like they're a must for everyone, and I wouldn't recommend them. So if you read them, I did not recommend it. I did not recommend them. Just talking about them, and it was something out of my comfort zone, I want to say. Not that I have a comfort zone when it comes to reading, but just something new. Exactly that, something new. So in first and second place, I have Hunting Adeline and Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carton. If you don't know about these books, then I don't know what type of For You page you have, because they've been on TikTok and Instagram a lot, and there's like trigger warnings because there's like a gun and a knife scene, and there's like sex involved those objects, and there's like the art world, that it's not good in real life, and it doesn't take you that easy to get over in real life, and other stuff, like trafficking and stuff like that. And, a lot of unaliving people involved. But unaliving people doesn't fade me. What fades me is that it was my first, I guess, dark romance novel. And what fades me is that I actually liked it. Like, I just hope that this liking doesn't translate to the fact that, I have like a trauma, and I also want to get over it. And I also want, like, I like the whole, coming back as from like the soft woman, naive, to like this beautiful like woman full of rage, capable of defending herself, and training like martial arts and weapons and knives. Like, I just, that arc, it's always gonna be like my sweet spot. And I know like some people didn't see it that way, but that's how I saw it. And maybe I'm just self projecting in this story, but it's still like I liked it. I enjoyed it reading it, and it was something new that it was very hype about, and it didn't disappoint me personally. But I can see how it can be a lot for some people, so I did not recommend this book to everyone. I read the Charles Leclerc Formula One book written by Jackson Carter. So one of my closest friends is really into like sports. So she watches NFL, tennis, I don't know what else, but one of all those other things that she knows a lot is Formula One. So she actually pushed me into watching Formula One this year, and then that way she could have me to talk about. So I ended up liking it. I've knew about Formula One, but not like follow it, because there's a lot of commitment into watching sports. Like, I hate watching anything live because it's a lot of commitment. I don't even watch TV live. I didn't grow up watching TV live, okay? Because I'm telling you, it's a lot of commitment to be there present and at a certain time of every single day, blah blah blah. I tried my best this season. Sometimes I had to wake up at 4 a.m. just to watch the stupid race on a Sunday, and then I will fall asleep mid race, but that's not the point. The point is that I started this year, and so I wanted to learn more. And, obviously I had to read about Charles Leclerc because he is, I don't know, he and Hamilton seem like multidimensional beings to me, and I like that it just stands out from the rest to me. And I love vocal activist people, and Charles is a big softy with his music and stuff like that, so I like that. So anyways, I just read more about it and Formula One. So next, and number 4 in that category, and I swear to God, I'm not recommending any of these books in this category, is Claim Me Heart by Vanessa Bell. And this just feels like Miss Vanessa Chef's Kiss. Because, like, this, like, I feel like even the most graceful princess dream about this stuff. Two beautiful, handsome, emotional, supportive men, not fighting over you, but willing to have you both. Till death do us apart, baby. We are a trouble. I don't know. This is the dream of every woman, trust me. Yes, even those that didn't know that it was possible, if the option was given, we would. That's all I have to say about that book. Okay, then I have the other category that's rereading an old book. So I actually reread an old book that I started from like ages ago, and actually finished it. So it only took me a decade to finish this book, but I finally did, and I actually read the sequel. So that's gonna be Fallen and Torment by Lauren Kate. And gosh, this book, it was a bit painful to read it at this age, just because I've read better things, and I feel like I've moved to bigger and better things. I mean, we're talking about, I read this book in the same space that I was reading Haunting Adeline and Claim Me Heart. Like, there's just not comparison. I can't settle for an angel that every single life has disappointed me, and it kept me in this stuck pattern of like me having to reincarnate so many times until he can profess his stupid love for me. Like, I just can't settle for that. Like, I just can't. Once you have secure men that want to provide for you and like love you and be emotional vulnerable with you, it's just like I just can't settle for this child's play. So that's all I have to say. Okay, and then next we're moving on to my favorite romances of this year. So, The Book of Israel and Throne of Broken Gods by Amber Nicole. It's, oh wow, it's the beginning of something great. Mark my fucking words. It's like her style. It's like a mix of some, pop cultural stuff. Like, you can see some like influence from the Vampire Diaries, and she has talked about it. The author, I don't know. It's a world building saga in the making, and if she doesn't mess this up, I feel like this has a really good potential to turn. She has a really good potential to turn this into like a 22 plus series books, and like I would personally read them all. Like, honestly, if I have to keep that woman in business, I will 100% it with it, because I'm invested in the characters. The way that she brings her characters to life, love that, love that more than anything. And her writing style is, I feel like to me it's very contemporary. So unlike Sarah J Maas narration style, it seems very contemporary. It's also like on from the first person, which typically I don't go for first person books, but first person narration books, but you have multiple pubs, so it's not only her, like the main character or the main female character, mind, but it also other people's minds. So that's how you get to know what's going on around. So I personally like that, because I'm telling you, my favorite writing style, it would be third person narration. I just love seeing the whole plot, because that's how I feel like I analyze people, and my approach to life. I'm an observer, so I just love being omnipresent. Anyways, Those are the only two books that she has right now, and I stand by those. By the way, what drove me to read those books is that the main female's character name is Diana Martinez. If Diana Martinez had a dick, it would be so squeaky clean of how hard I would suck it, because I really love that character, and it inspires me in so many ways. And I feel like if they go through a hardship and I connect the hardship from their life to my life and they're able to get over that, it's just like an inspiration. It becomes like this self pep talk, like if they can do it, I can do it. And is them then I have the book X's and O's by Amy Lee, and I love Amy Lee. Yeah, I read her first book in 2022, and it was the Set on You. Wait, I fell in love with that fucking book. I read it twice that year. The main characters love that. Love that. I love that the main male character was based on Chris Evans, and I could basically picture him in my head. And also, like, there's something about like just emotional supportive men that is like chef's kiss. And I like that book, and in that book, the characters for this X's and O book kind of like are introduced, and I wanted to know more. So character building, it's a very important thing for authors, because that's how you guys get us hooked on these things, like thinking that they're personal people and we have to see what's going on with them. Then I have The Love Hypothesis by Ellie Hazelwood. I i am barely reading this book in 2023, and wow, I loved it. Like, I really really did enjoy it. Like, I get why so many people hate her, but no say, to me you can't convince me otherwise. Love like silly, quirky, scientific jargon or scientific, banter. Next, moving on to the next in this category, and this is not typically what I would go for. Tutoring the Player by Rebecca Yesak. Yansok? I don't know. Something like that. And when I tell you that there's nothing that I hate more than a romance based on a Playboy, like, I don't even like saying the hate word, but there is nothing that I hate more than a romance book based on the plot of a player. Like, I hate the whole idea of like shifting the player, and the lie about like how you have to be Miss Goody Two Shoes to change the player and blah 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 blah, blah. I just hate that fucking trope with my whole fucking life. And this book is not it. Like, this book is not that. There's no messy like drama like that. There was not a toxic like breakup. It's like, oh shit, you lied about this, but that's it. Sabes como sea, no, como I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's because I also read the audiobook, or I was listening to the audiobook, and I really like the voice, like the guy's voice. So fuck, I really like the guy's voice. Maybe that's why like my experience felt like better. Anyways, I over explain myself in that one. It's like, you either love it or hate it. That's fine. So the rest of the books that I have, fuck, I've just lumped some of them in a category called did not like but do not regret. And that's just me basically being nice. Like, I try my best into being positive, especially reading, and like, my me no marry my own biases, and like me, except when it comes to players. Okay, I'm gonna keep those biases, but other than that, like, me not marrying my biases, and like me being an open, trying to keep an open mind and stuff, and like be willing to challenge my own beliefs and stuff like that. I don't like to talk negatively about books or the authors, because at the end of the day, it's like, it was somebody's pieces of work, and it took a journey to get it published and get it out there. And okay, it's okay if it wasn't my cup of tea, but I don't like giving like rate them kind of who am I? I'm no authorized critic, and I feel like a lot of bookstagram and a lot of book talk or whatever, it's about rating these books, and I feel like instead I go into like, okay, what can I learn about this book? I don't want to dive too much into details on this because I don't want to make this episode as long, like longer than it already is. But if you know me, I can talk about anything for like hours. So, whew, okay, so we have um, The Highland Vanishing Memories by Maddie McKenna. And the reason why is because I love me at Outlander plot. Before Outlander became, a series in Netflix, there was so many books that I read similar to that. That's a plot. Like, all right, then you go to the famous like stone circles in Ireland, and then you travel back in time and you stumble upon a hunky, very handsome, very attractive, very gruffy, very grumpy, very, ¿cómo se dice? Carefully crafted by the gods Highlander, and you fall in love and you stay in the past. I don't know. There has been many books that I read like that, and that's why I read this one. But I feel like it did not deliver like so many others. But it's still like I enjoyed it, but it's just like I did not like it, but I do not regret it. Okay, then I have Ruthless, Sinful, and Benchable by Demon Kim. I know, by Nikki St. Croix, and it falls into like a saga of a Demon King, Rat and Rain. That's what it's called. And I feel like it was too contemporary for my liking. I just don't like straightforward, even though I talk very straightforward. English is not my first language, so I'm always gonna use that as an excuse. Um, that's the reason for me being straightforward. I don't hide behind very eloquent and sophisticated vocabulary because it makes it harder for me. But I will try. Actually, reading in English has helped a lot. This book was too contemporary for my liking. I'm telling you, too straightforward, too contemporary. King of Rat, King of Pride, Twisted Lies by Anna Huang. So again, maybe it's just the writing style, too contemporary. The characters do not have like this amazing personality that makes me feel interested. It didn't have any sort of like plot twist to make me feel like interested. It didn't hook my attention the way it is. Then I have in that same breath Love on the Brain by Ailey Hazelwood. And then again, I really love the Love Hypothesis, but I did not like Love on the Brain. Did not like it, but I don't regret reading it. Then I have Icebreakers by Hannah Grace, The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang, The Lighthouse by Jesse Newton, Your First 365 Days in Real Estate by Shelley Savitt. Oh, personally, I took a lot of, lessons from that book, but I did not like it, and I do not regret reading it. So that's why it's in that category. Then I have Wrapped Up in Christmas by Janice Lynn. This one, too Christian for my liking. So, whilst I have nothing wrong with indoctrination, it was too in my face and shoved on, and like the main female character was like the pick me that it's like indoctrinated, and she's like so proud to be indoctrinated and like like I don't know if patronizes is the word, but like judges other women for like being them just because they're not like like they're not like her own indoctrinating beliefs. So yeah, that was my problem with this one. That's why I didn't like it. And then I have The Irish Crown by Nashora Rose, and this one is like a mob romance, but I didn't feel like the guy was like good enough. Like he wasn't built up enough for the book. And also, she was very clingy, and I don't do that. If there's like a romance built into my main character, I love that. I love that for her. But I don't like it when like it's the whole reason for her to exist. I don't know. Call me a Grinch, I guess. In the last place, very last place, because I am trying to be nice and not say anything bad about it. 32 Going on Spinster. 32 Going on Spinster. That's the title of the book by Becky Monson. And I only read it because the audiobook was like $99. I mean, cents. It was practically sold to me. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. The amount of times she called herself a spinster in this book, and then she then patronized, I don't know if patronize is the word, but did she judge other women? And like there was pat shaming, there was like just pinning other women down. Like she had nothing positive to say about anyone, including herself. I'm telling you, she called herself a spinster. And just reading or when listening to that like monologue of negativity, I was just like, I just can not longer relate to that, babes. I'm sorry. No, that's a no for me. And I realized, like that's what I'm taking from this book. I can no longer relate to that, and I love that for me. And that's it. That's all I have to say for that book. I'm not gonna criticize anything else but that. Okay, that's it. That was my list of books that I read 2023, and I really like this recap, and maybe we can do it for 2024. So you'll have to wait a year for that. Thank you so much for listening me ramble about this stuff. I'm very passionate about my books, as you probably were able to tell. Um, this episode is so long, but it's not scripted. I'm so sorry I ramble. No, I'm taking that back. I'm not sorry I ramble. It's like, you know, love it, love it, love it for me, love it for you. Stay rambling is okay. It's okay for us to take space, and that's something that I'm learning. Take up space, be weird, be you, and the people that will vibe with you, they will vibe with you, and the people that won't vibe with you, then won't they want, and that's fine. It's your win, anyways. So, as always. I will always encourage you to read everything so that you form your own opinion, and you're more than welcome to let me know if you read a book or did because of me. Um, I am not here to discourage you of reading books. Let me just make that clear. So if there's a book that it's in my I didn't like list, but you want to read it, and then we can talk about it. And if it's about complaining, then we can complain together. But I will always encourage you to read everything and to form your own opinions and to question everything. That is the way that my mom raised me, and she always said to me that I guess I'm not a parent, but this will be my parenting style. Like question everything, even the things that I'm teaching you, and do better, be better, progress even further away that I did and I'm doing. Okay. Anyways, take care, babes. See you in the next one. Thank you so much for joining me this week. If you like this episode, give us a like, a share, or a review on Spotify or whatever it is you're listening. Make sure to subscribe to the show in iTunes or Spotify so you'll never miss a show. If you'd simply like to tell a friend about the show, that will help us out too. If you share on Instagram, don't forget to tag me. I love to see your thoughts and insight. Have a wonderful week. Sending you energetic strength your way, no matter what you're going through. I believe in you, so fight back. Be sure to tune in for our next episode, and I'll see you in the next one.